Hi, I believe in life. There comes a time where we will have to go through a death of some sort, not a physical death, but a spiritual death, where we have to go through in order to transition so that we can live that next level of who we are in letting go of the old us that has served us for a purpose. But the expiration date for the next level to move up has come up. And it will require for us to lay our old self in order to step in the new self. And how does that look for, the everyday of humanity? It can be it is very different for other people. It is very different for everybody, sorry. It is very, very different. You could be going through stages where you feel like there is so much that is going on that you cannot handle. But can I assure you that in order for you to feel that unimaginable pain, unimaginable suffering, the attacks, the isolation, the war that is within, the war that is in the home, family, friends, is all part of it. In my case, it happened in many stages. Looking back, when I was young, coming from a country into a different country that I had no knowledge of, the culture, the language, just literally coming into the unknown of the unknown for any young child. It was terrifying. But as young children, we are, at that time, children are very resilient. And as long as the child has the capacity to want to learn, to want to do something, they will do it, irrespective of whether they have fear, anxiety, no knowledge of the language. But it does require something of that person. For me, that was one of my biggest transition as any young person. Going to school, not speaking the language, having to learn the language, having to live through teens and the things that teens go through that, some are children speaks of and some they don't. The changes within, the body of a young person, transitioning into, mini adulthood. It knocks you, but at the same time, because when you have the desire to live life, the desire to want better, the desire to do that which you've never done before, that is almost like a fuel that fuels a person to want to do, want to get up, want to move. But if there is no drive of that thought, it can be challenging. And having to couple that with, self-acceptance, self-confidence, and especially for an introvert, that can be very, very difficult. But in spite of that, as a young person, came out of it, continued. As now I'm speaking to you, I am an adult now, which I'm very grateful to have lived those, journey, the process of growth, the process of life, becoming a mother, becoming a grandmother. It has been one of those processes. I can never even say I would change anything about it because I wouldn't. It is a part of me, is in all of them, and because of that, it's because it has brought me to where I am today. And I believe the same is for you too. There's many stages and many unspeakable things that you've experienced, have journeyed through, but you are still here to witness, to be the witness, to testify of those things. And I believe that it is paramount that you never forget those parts. And when you look back, you can see that they added something to who you are today. But I have to say, my biggest death of, not a physical death, but a spiritual death came. I believe there was three that happened, which the last one was the most soul shaking, spirit shaking, all in all, that I would never wish it even on my enemy. I would never wish it on somebody to go through that. The first one that happened, and I believe, I believe we are spirit beings. I believe we are spirit living on this earth, but on a physical body, but we are spirit. The first time it happened was when a friend's mother, they transitioned from this world and left the earth. On the night that they passed away, I went through something that I cannot explain. I cannot put it into words. I cannot articulate it properly in order to make sense. But this is the best I can, gather up, really. I went to sleep and I slept. And the only way I can explain it, it was like I went to the deepest, darkest of darkest, if there's such a word, of realm that I believe within myself. The soul of that mother, or whatever that was around the mum, wanted to take me also, as in for me to transition to another realm. And I remember it's almost like a jerking. It's when you're kind of pull, and then, let go of. It was like a slingshot. I was shot back into my awaking moment. And it just didn't make sense to me because I have never experienced that. And the same thing happened again with another friend's mum when they passed. But on this occasion, I actually dreamt of the mum. And then I was taken in this same process again. It's almost like either the whatever the person, or the soul of the person, the spirit of the person, whatever that was on the person wanted to take me. Almost like if they're going, I have to go. But I believe in that moment, in that slingshot moment, God took me out of that because it was not my time to go. And I believe God is saying this was for a purpose. I don't know why. But there is something to it more than what I am even feeling now. As I'm speaking, I can feel it is more than what it is. And I don't know why I'm even sharing that, but I just felt to share that. But I do believe that we do go through changes, that some changes, especially when you're in tune with life in that way, and there's like the spiritual realm, a spiritual side of it, you start to feel things that if you were to share with somebody, they would think that there was something wrong with, with oneself. But it's not like that at all. Those were the two main ones at the beginning that just baffled me. And I'm still asking and seeking God, about it. But I know in time he will give me what I need to know. But I have released the need, the desire to find out what it is exactly. Only God knows. And I'm sure he protected me from that. And I'm sure he's protecting you in your journey as you're walking through, as you're going through your own transition. That, certain things may happen that may not make sense. The only thing I can say is just trust him. Just trust and believe that he is doing something. And keep going forward in that transition you are going through, no matter how difficult it is. And I think that the magnitude of the difficulty will actually equal the changes that is required within yourself. That's just my thought. The last, and I pray that it is the last and the worst transition I've ever been through, that I would never wish upon anybody, is when I found myself in a position of my head being punched, is the only way that I can say, in a way that knocked me out, but I managed to get up. But the things that were happening within those moments, to explain it again to you in detail, I cannot articulate it. I can only say it was almost a happening of the spirit plus the physical. There is no tangible answer, reasoning. It's hard to put it into words. But my head being punched and me falling down and getting up and all the commotion of that impact made me feel, as I fell down, I felt like I left my body in that moment. I fell down, blacked out for a few seconds. In that few seconds, something happened. To us, time feels like a second. To God, God doesn't work in the time that we work in. And I truly believe in the spirit realm, time is very different than we see it here. And in that moment, I felt I left my body. And as I got up, it's almost like I got up a completely different person. And after that, to cut the story slightly short, I walked almost like with a halo of death over my head for about 2-3 months. And I would feel like the hovering of death over my head. It's like a cloud of death. And the only way I can feel, I felt it like that. And in my spirit eye, I could actually see like dark cloud, but it felt like they were just hovering, waiting to take me. And in those times, I remember pleading to God and asking him, please let me live. Don't let me die. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. Even saying this right now, I truly, truly say I would never wish it on anybody. Not even my worst enemy. Not on anyone who doesn't like me. I will never wish it on somebody. Never. And I would pray, Lord, lead me. Be my step. Help me to walk. Help me to see. Help me to speak. My speech was all over the place. I would hold a little sentence, and if you were to speak to me for a long time, you will hear I'll start to stutter. And I've never stuttered in my life. Never stutter in my life. And then for the first week, even the first week I could not eat food. I could not eat food. The only thing I ate was communion. Communion. Bread and wine. And it was almost like a setup that happened. And I happened to have, to have bought a box of communion that I just used for my use at home after prayer or before prayer. And I lived on communion for about a week and a half, maybe even. And in that, I would remember what my prophet said in church. And it was just something he said, but it always stuck with me. That I believe what he said, I cannot say word for word, but just my own interpretation of what I heard. He said that he lived. You could live off communion alone. You can live on communion alone. And that just stuck with me after. And this is also very, very important to stress. It's so important to be in a church that you know that has the capacity to give you the words that will carry you through life, a word that will take you through life. I'm so fortunate to have been, from the beginning when I first became a Christian, to have gone to, to have started in a church home that was so lovely. The people were lovely. But again, in transition, you don't always stay in one place forever. God only knows. Only He knows. He allowed me to be in one place for a long time. Then He transitioned me just at the perfect time that I needed. Because I believe if I was back in that home, I would not be alive now. Because the word that was spoken, that was declared over the people in the church, those words were life. Life that kept me. Life that kept me at the point of my darkest, weakest moment in life. I felt weak. I felt completely drained of my own self. I felt like nothing. But one thing I know and I am so grateful for to God until today, and I will never forget. God birthed me with a heart that is so pure. Am I perfect? Have I lived a perfect life? Absolutely not. Far from it. But the one thing He gave me was my heart. He gave me a heart that is so pure. I'm not saying this to say that I'm better than anybody, but it's just the fact of what He has given and deposited in me. Every human being we all have a wonderful heart. Wonderful, wonderful, pure, beautiful hearts. But what He gave me, even I have absolutely no understanding of why. Only He knows. He chose me for a purpose. He knew I would go through these challenges that would literally feel like I'm being taken out of this world. The attacks that comes, not just in the spiritual, you have the physical. You have people just for no apparent reason just hating on me. Only now that I understand why I had to go through the death. Only now I know the reason. Some of it, not all of it. The reason why He saved me. I could have lost my life. I could have lost my children. I could have lost everything. but because of God, but because of his grace, but because of his love, but because of his forgiveness. He allowed me to forgive even when from a human perspective, I shouldn't have. But he allowed me to forgive in the moment of impact. He allowed me to forgive in the moment of impact. And I believe he's saying to you, he wants you to forgive in this moment right now. Don't hold on to anything or anyone that has hurt you. Yes, it is painful. Yes, it's painful. Yes, you've lost so much more than they have. But trust me, all these things that are happening, they're actually happening for you. It's been almost a year. And I can tell you, I don't have the kind of people that I used to have around me. It's crickets, literally. It's isolation beyond isolation, even though there are people around me, but this is a different type of isolation. God will isolate you for his purpose. He will isolate you because he wants you to be set apart. Not to make you to look like you're better than anybody, but he's done it for a reason. He's doing it for a purpose. And the need to know, the need to understand, the need to get the answer, may I suggest that you just lay it down. I had to lay all those down. It's none of my business to know why. At the time that he is ready to give us why, to give you why, those things took place, those impacted you, he will let you know. But he wants your life to be seen for his glory. But also in the midst of that, he's also teaching you about the heart. He's teaching you about letting go. He's teaching you about forgiveness. We have all fallen short of the goodness of God. I know I had. I still do. But I ran quick to the foot of Jesus. I ran quick to his presence. I ran so quick to ask for him to show me, to teach me how to walk like him. I may never do it perfectly like him, but I will try. Because it is demanded of us. Especially when you have a relationship with him. I had to let go of my ego. I had to let go of all the desire I thought I wanted, all the things I thought I needed, all the clothes I had. I had to let every one of them go. One day he just said, take all your clothes out of the wardrobe, pack it, take it to the charity shop. And I would normally fight against it. What am I going to wear? But on this occasion, there was just something different about it. It's letting go of what did not, doesn't serve your present moment and to where you're going. But the biggest thing that I have to say in giving something away, something you give away, but something you have to throw away too. In doing that, you're serving his people. In doing that, you're letting go of what does not serve you. In doing that, you're letting go of energy that no longer impacting your life. Sometimes we put on clothes and we think clothes is just clothes and it doesn't hold anything. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. The word of God is energy that produces something. Life is interesting. Life is beautiful. Life is scary. Life is amazing. Life is hard sometimes. But when you do it God's way, when you walk with God in that, when you walk with God in life, when you surrender it to Him, as you do your part, as I surrender to Him, as I did my part and still continue to do, He's slowly but surely showing up in the way that He's allowing me to see things now. I speak to you now, my speech is perfect. I speak to you now, I don't feel like I am drunk. Because I lived in I don't drink, but I lived in a drunken state for over 9-10 months. Where I would walk and I feel my head is so dizzy. Right now I speak to you, I've been healed of that dizziness. I've been healed of any ailment. I've been healed of nausea. I would feel sick constantly, like I'm about to be sick, but I don't, I don't throw up or anything like that. But it's just the motion of sickness that comes. And I believe that was also trauma. That was also things that I needed to speak into so that it come out of me, to heal myself, to deliver myself from those things. Through life, we've collected so many things that are positive and also so many things that were negative. I say were because a lot of it has left me. And being alive today, I don't want my life to not count for anything. I want my life to count for something. Not for my benefit, but for the benefit that will glorify God, that will glorify His kingdom, that will glorify His present life now that we live in, through us, through me, through you. And it takes not giving up. It takes that perseverance and it takes that resilience and walking hard and being truthful to yourself. I had to be very, very truthful to myself. It's not completely over. And I know that there's going to be more of this journey, of this transition, of this test, of these challenges. But when you're rooted in God, He will give you the strength to run through it, either to go around it, or He will just take you completely out of it. But if He's given it to you and you're in it, and that child, your children or child is giving you nonsense beyond nonsense, don't give up on them. Don't give up on them. Or you're having marital issue, you're single by yourself and there's issue, there's problem, there's financial problem, there's this problem, all kinds of problems. Trust me, if you're in it and you haven't left, you haven't given up, call on the name of the Lord and He will guide you. Not just guide you, but He will also direct you or direct people that will come to your path to assist you, to guide you, to help you, to walk with you. I've gotten to a stage now where I look at life extremely different from where I used to look at life. Which I'm grateful for, but I'm also grateful for the now, because also life require maturity. Life require putting down that which I knew as a child. And I am grown now, so I have to live the grown way, behave the grown way, be the grown up. And know that any changes that we need to make does not lie in somebody else's hands. It requires us to work on us in the right mean, with the right way, in the, taking the right process. It requires us to do it. And as we do our part, God will also, add his in there. And I think the combination of the two is wonderful for change. And not being afraid to step out of your comfort zone and know that even though it feels scary, do it anyway. Do it. Even if it means you getting out of the house and going just for about 5 minutes, walk around the block or around your home or around the field, or I don't know, going to get a cup of tea or coffee, going to the supermarket, and just something that you can do that is small, and then gradually you can add to it that will, in the long run, will actually impact your wellness. Even exercising at home, doing some kind of dancing to music. I believe that we're all made for so much more. So much more. But the requirement of, to continue that which is in you, ask for you to not be afraid to walk, not be afraid to move, to be okay with not being okay, but to being okay with being okay as well, and healing, and recovering, and being delivered, and being in the right place, and allowing people to be who they are. Everything that's happening in your life, my life, they all hold a great purpose in your becoming, in my becoming. Nothing is ever by accident. God will never allow it if it was not meant to be. And if it isn't, then you know that was not the right thing for you. And if you've been taken away from somewhere, you've been, let go off from work or anything like that, that was not the right place for you. Your presence is needed somewhere that will be required, accepted, needed, and appreciated. So as you go through your day, your night, your morning, wherever you may be, in whichever country, whatever time, know that as you come across this, it's not an accident, it's meant for you. There's something in here that you've heard that will give you an encouragement to know that there's no giving up. You cannot give up. You have to continue to move. You have to continue to seek help within your community, on social media, or there is, there's so many ways that you can receive help. If you need it, the way will be made. If you ask the right question for what it is that you need, a way will be made. No matter how little, you take it, you open that door, you do what needs to be done in that part, it'll open another door. But as you do that, the door in your heart, the door in your spirit, the door in your soul will also open to allow bigger things to come in. Everything you need is within your proximity. A lot of it is within you. Some of it is outside. And some of it can be other people that will come into your life that will allow you to see something or one aspect of who you are or the way you think or how you look at life that will open something in you to look deeper, and then you will also make the right decision and start to see life and start to accept you and feel good about yourself and and allow yourself to be who God made you to be. We are all very different, and that's okay. Some have, some of us have rough skin, some has very smooth skin. It's okay. It's okay. Learn to like you. Like you first. Then everything else will start to fall into place. As you like you, you do better by yourself, you do better for yourself, you do better for your home, for your surrounding. When you feel better, you do better. But never leave God out of it. Never leave the word of God out of it. Never leave your relationship with God out of it. As you draw closer to Him, He draws closer to you. And as He draws closer to you, His presence, His word, His ambience touches you. It touches your home. It touches your family, your children. And it helps you to look at life differently. And it helps you to forgive wholeheartedly without wanting anything. I forgave wholeheartedly. I don't hold no grudges. Because we're human beings. People are allowed to be who they are. But the best way that we can make changes in this world, in our communities, in our home, is to change ourselves first. And then change others, or impact your community, or impact your nations, or impact, your schooling, or wherever you may find yourself to be. I just felt that I needed to share a little bit. I don't even know if all of that made sense, but I know God needed me to say what I said, and I've said it. I haven't held anything back that He wanted me to say. There is a lot, but at the right time, I'm sure He will. When He says do it, I will do it. Obedience is huge. I had to learn that too. To be obedient in the little things, in the big things, and so on and so forth. I trust this message finds you well. Know that you're needed. No matter what you've done, no matter what you've gone through, you're forgiven. The biggest thing now is you have to forgive yourself. No one can make you forgive you. You have to forgive you. And that is a journey in itself. And if you're willing to do the work necessary to be able to do that, I promise you, you will never regret it. You are going to be the man, the woman that God has created you to be. Do what you need to do where you are. Don't be afraid to seek help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. As you ask and you sit with your Father, God, He will also guide you to where you need to be and who He wants you to be around in that moment to get what you need to get in order to make the change. So I love you. Good news to you, always. God bless you.